Ah, man. Yeah, sucking on that electric cock. Yeah, you're so gay, you vape. Used it to quit a 12-year pack a day smoking habit. I'm not fucking sorry. So, at the risk of even worse, becoming one of these r slash unfunny cringe bullshit fucking goddamn channels, I'm gonna read you guys a meme or an image macro here. Um, Actually, that's not what this is. It's just basically text. But I have never, in about 2.5 minutes of fucking words here, seen the whole stop politicizing video games thing explained better. And the other great thing about this is it even has a couple of these bullet points on it are actually from a kind of left wing angle of why you shouldn't do this. It's not just, righties being so fucking mad here. So it starts with the quote, "I'm so sick of politics in video games." And what a person who says this likely means is, for one, "I'm tired of badly shoehorned references to the current president of the United States or the 2016 US presidential election that will age like milk." Or, "I don't like to see idiotic swipes or jokes at the expense of Richard Spencer or other alt-right figures or someone like that, because nobody fucking understands what the hell you're talking about unless you're a no-lifer who lives online, like me, and I feel the lesser for even understanding you." How about, "Do you really need to put in a so much for the tolerant blank joke in your fucking game? Your attempt at exploring politics through the writing for your game would be embarrassing for a 16-year-old to write, and you're in your fucking 30s. Holy fucking shit. I see what you tried to do here, but you categorically failed entirely and only made a half-baked surface level take. Why even try? Nice joke. Did John Oliver write that for you?" Why did you say triggered or put an attack helicopter joke in this fucking thing? This is not a Flash game on Newgrounds, alright? It's not 2014. What the fuck is wrong with you? This transgender character that behaves like no actual trans person in real life behaves is actually extremely offensively written, and your attempts to deflect criticism for this by accusing your critics and detractors of transphobia and being the alt-right, it's all reductive and unhelpful. And God, can I please follow an indie developer I liked on Twitter without having to be held hostage by their bizarre meltdowns and nuclear hot takes every fucking week? And apparently, what idiots fucking hear whenever we try to explain any of the above, "I am somehow both a Nazi and a coward centrist with no ideals at the same time. The personal is political. Everything's political. I'm Jim Sterling, son." Fucking dumb fat ass. Anyway, it's not necessary. The chief fucking flaw in politicizing any game is there's a difference between explaining a fucking concept that is ultimately somewhat political. I mean, every time you overthrow a dictator, I mean, fucking the fags like Jim Sterling are not completely wrong when they say, "Oh, overthrowing a dictator is a statement that despotic emperors are not a good thing." Sure, that's kind of like a really basic thing. That is a fucking ancient trope, okay? There's a difference between that and putting an obvious stand-in for Donald Trump in your game, or an obvious stand-in for Hillary Clinton, or an obvious stand-in for any politician that somebody around the age of 20 would actually fucking know. I mean, if I put Henry Kissinger in my game, most of you fucking Zoomers would have no fucking idea what I was trying to say about Henry Kissinger. It would have been wasted. It would have been on deaf ears, and it probably would have been fucking stupid to begin with. So why would you do that? And like the first point says, fucking date your game and ruin immersion. If I'm in a game, I'm in a fantasy world. And even if it's talking about a concept that exists in real life, as most concepts in most games are, it's a concept that does exist in real life, but it doesn't automatically mean it's a jarring, ham-fisted, completely forced, broke ass fucking political reference to something that happened a year ago. But if you say play this game in 8 years, it'll just be raw, unadulterated cringe, probably even if you agreed with the politics at the time or still do. It's just fucking wasteful. It shouldn't be there. There's a reason why Allegory works so fucking well. I mean, I still to this day meet people who say something really fucking dumb. They say Lord of the Rings is an allegory for World War II, and those people are completely fucking wrong on every level. Not only does it not work as a metaphor at all, Tolkien didn't intend it that way. One way it does work perfectly, The Lord of the Rings works perfectly and was intended as a goddamn Catholic, basically passion allegory. It's Gandalf is fucking Christ, okay? Aragorn is the upright and righteous, pious man, and they fucking defeat evil and fucking banish sin and shit. And the meek, the children, are the hobbits who Jesus says, be like them, for they are the most faithful and shit. It's all a Christian allegory, and when you first encounter it, you probably wouldn't even think that until somebody said, oh, hey, did you notice that it's kind of like a Christian thing? And then you go back and rewatch the whole thing and you're like, whoa, I never even fucking noticed. That is what people are asking for. You can give me an allegory that explains why fucking shit like the Cold War was wrong, or why fucking Nazis are bad, or especially the easiest one to do is like why Soviet society was a fucking nightmare, where man literally just brought hell onto Earth, and it's the most horrifying thing that was ever been done. The Holocaust be fucking damned. That's actually easy. 1984, you can watch that whole thing, and if you weren't like a fucking World War II buff or something, you may have never understood what it was saying. It just would have looked like, holy shit, God, I hope society doesn't become like that. And I see my society doing things like security, worship, protectionism, suppression of expression and individuality. Oh, that's shit. And you don't even know that it's intended as an allegory to Soviet Russia, because it doesn't need to only be that concept. It's a universal concept that harkens back to something that really happened, that was the worst case scenario of something that could happen anywhere. Shit like that is smart. All of this shit that I just read to you, garbage. Okay? And it's not even just that I'm a Trump supporter, because if you came in here going, fucking Hillary Clinton, rah, 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 and shit, I mean, there's a difference between, okay, you have a game where it's like Call of Duty, and there's some politician who's calling the shots, and some fucking senator on the fucking military action committee, starting wars and shit. But if you make them obviously look like any fucking buddy in politics, you're defeating the purpose, because it's not a commentary on a person, it's a commentary on an action. War hawkishness, or starting unnecessary conflicts, or starting a chain reaction of war and shit, is political, and yet it's something that has been a risk ever since fucking the age of nations, the last 200 years, where everything was a fucking nation. And then all the nations started going to war all the fucking time. That doesn't have to reference any person, or indeed any time in the last 200 years. It is just a thing that is a thing, and you can comment on that thing, and that commentary will be timeless, because you're not rooting it in a year. You're not sticking it to a nation. It would actually serve your purposes, if you're trying to communicate a political concept, to detach it as much as possible. Fucking make it aliens on another fucking planet with a different fucking culture doing the same fucking shit we do. Then everybody will get it and nobody will judge it. The point is, reference to Trump, reference to Richard Spencer, reference to this politician, reference to this modern fucking fad, reference to this sexuality. Look, especially the one about trans people. Trans people sometimes do have the problem of thinking that their transness defines them. And those are some of the most unhappy trans people I've ever fucking seen. The ones that, I don't know, have fucking hobbies and other interests. Much happier people. The ones that identify themselves as a fan of this, or I do this for work, or I have this as a hobby, or, I like doing this, or I like this music, are a hell of a lot better people than the people who wear your fucking trident stripes, blue, pink, white, whatever fucking flag everywhere, going trans, 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 I am trans, everything is trans, if you disagree with me, you are transphobic, everything I like is pro-trans, everything is an allegory for trans, every character that I identify with must be trans, like Cloud Strife is trans, and fucking Titus from fucking Final Fantasy X is trans, and this guy from my fucking favorite anime is trans. Fuck you. Nobody likes you. You're a fucking asshole. Go to fucking hell. You one-track mind fucking robot. Fuck off. You know what I mean? That's all we're saying. And you can have... I remember somebody was explaining to me, a big fan of Deus Ex. There is a main character in that, well, not the main character, but a major character in that game who is gay. And you would never, ever fucking know it unless you broke into his house and essentially read his private data logs while you were stealing his shit. You would find out that he's a fag. And it has literally no bearing on his job as like he's like fucking one of the shot callers in UNATCO or some shit. I forget who the fuck the guy is. I actually have not played the original Deus Ex. Sue me. I've seen almost all the memes for it though, so a lot of spoilers. But shit like that is interesting because what that says, that already does make kind of a political statement implicitly, not explicitly, which is, it's usually better to imply a theme than to shove it in somebody's fucking face with ham-fisted expositionary dialogue. You go, basically what that says is this guy has a position of extreme authority, is incredibly powerful, is respected, has a personality, as like any fucking guy would, and you wouldn't even know he was gay. What does that say? Gay people are not space aliens or monsters or necessarily deviants or caustic to any fucking social environment, like unfortunately a lot of the progressive ones can be. The flamboyant, in your face, everything's about me. You don't hate me because I'm a fucking obnoxious asshole. You hate me because I'm gay. You know, the opposite of the Key and Peele guy. You know, the Key and Peele guy who says like, oh, they don't hate me because I'm gay. They're not homophobic. I'm just a dick. You know, that guy. But like reversed. You know, where everyone says, you're just obnoxious cunt. I don't give a shit. Like, it's like the Bill Burr sketch. Like, put the dick back in your mouth and stop being a faggot. Like that. So it's a more profound statement to say you wouldn't have even known unless this guy fucking told you. And honestly, in context of your relationship to this man, his sexuality is none of your fucking business. So why would it come up? In fact, what I want to fuck or what I want to jerk off to or whatever is none of your business, and I would be insulting or disgusting you, or at the very least expecting to be doing so, if I fucking tried to fucking tell you all that shit. In fact, every time I've ever mentioned anything like my sexuality or personal anecdotes from my life that are either dark or related to certain illnesses I've had and shit, that's like personal, private information, and it's not. I know a lot of people do want to flaunt that, and for some reason we have this kind of culture where you get social credit for telling everyone you have this disease or this condition or this sexuality. But to me, I don't just think it's bad for me to be waving that shit in your face. It's bad for you. I feel like I'd be insulting you if I was constantly talking about me. Like, you give a shit about me. You're here to ideas. I'm not actually all that interesting of a person, maybe a little bit, but I like to think I have interesting ideas. You should have no fucking care in the world about what I want to fuck. We're not here talking about dating. I'm not fucking Roosh V or some shit. Like, you don't fucking care. You should not care. I should not want you to care. I should not expect you to care. You should think I'm insulting you by talking about it. That's this. That's the fucking games. Stop it. Because almost every time they try to do this inclusion shit, the gay character, entire personality, is that they're gay. The whole fucking thing. All of it. How many gay people want to be known as a fucking flamboyant caricature? None of the ones I hang out with. Fucking none. They fucking hate that shit. They find it insulting and demeaning. It's like blackface to them, basically. It's like, oh, yeah, it's a master, let's chuck and drive. Let's go to the fucking blues and smoke weed and get drunk and be fast and loose. And no, they're not even all like that now, let alone back then. They were definitely not like that back then. That was a rarity. And white people had the same kind of fucking degenerates. But somehow we pretended like only one of them was doing it. And that's the fucked up thing. How about just not having caricatures in your game? You don't have to write the most nuanced characters. You don't have to have fucking Charles Foster Kane in your fucking game. But don't do this shit. Don't do that I'm trans thing and all my powers come from my transness. Stop it. Fucking stop it. Anyway, 15 minutes is way too fucking long for this fucking topic, but I feel like I got the point across, right? Like, stop insulting me. Stop demeaning yourselves by doing this. This helps nobody. It's 100% counterproductive, and the fact that anybody would call you a Nazi or a coward or denying reality that everything fucking is political. Well, my fucking dick is political. Suck it.